Hi guys, I'm back. There's no time like the present. Can you believe it? I found the missing dies and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to come back on and quickly share how I did it. That way I can link it to the PDF and show how to make the stencil tree. So I packed up and I cleaned up. I know you all want to know where they were. Packed up, cleaned up, and I thought, these dies are nowhere. Anyway, when I remembered, and I had a brief spark that I remembered I'd cleaned them because they got all inky, and I actually slightly bent one. So I popped it under my big box of dies, which are all magnet sheets, so it's really heavy, and I popped them under there so that it could flatten. And I would never remember that. So that is where they were, and I thought, wow, that's silly. And I thought, while I'm packing up and I've still got the stamps out, I'm going to quickly show how to use these. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I just went live, and I will link the video underneath this one. I just went live on my weekly live to show how to make this puzzle card. And it was frustrating because the original one was this one, which had the stencil tree, and it opens up like this. And I had an autumnal version, but because I couldn't find the stencils live, I had to do a die cut tree. So yes, that was a bit annoying. But because I just found the stencils, I thought I'll pop on and quickly share how I actually made the stencil tree and what the stencils are, because they're pretty cool. And if you've never used them before, you might want to see. So this comes with the Frosted Forest bundle. It has a stamp, it has the dies, as well as this really cool set of stencils. So each style of tree has 3 stencils, and they're labelled as well. So there's a 1, which is your trunk, and then 2 is the bulk of the tree, and then 3 adds your detail. There's also the same with 2 sizes of the other tree. So I haven't tried these ones yet, but you can also make those trees. This one is the one I said would look cute as a Christmas tree. So I thought I'd quickly share how I did this so I can link it to the other videos so you can see. So I have gone ahead and I've used a product, by the way, which I'm going to quickly show you because I find this product really easy to use. You don't have to. You could use some kind of tape to tape it down when you're stenciling, or just have a steady hand. But I really like this. It's new for me, but it's great when you're doing some stenciling. So this is the waffle flower grip mat, and this is the size that fits in the Misty. So I have actually got this linked in the video link. There should be a link called Kayla's Crafty Favorites. It's linked in there to where I purchased that from. So I'm just going to take the backing off this. It's actually one big piece of photopolymer. So I'm just going to take, it's quite sticky, and because I haven't used it overly a lot, you cannot get alcohol on this. So you can't use alcohol cleaners or stamping blends. Ooh, it's very strong smell, like, you know, when you get new photopolymer stamps, it's that. Christine, they were underneath my magnetic dies because I had slightly bent one, and I popped it under there because I thought that being heavy it would help, and they weren't that bent. But anyway, I was like, you were kidding. I would never have found them when I was live. Anyway, so I've got this waffle flower mat, and see how sticky that is to the desk? Well, the really handy thing about it is I can stick my image that I'm working on to there, and then I can stick my stencil. Actually, I'll move that over a little bit. I can bring in my stencil for the tree over the top, stick the edges of that, and then I can blend and not have to worry about that stencil moving. So that's why I love this product. Okay, so I have stamped the tree first, but I'm going to show you. I'll just go through the whole thing. So I'll pop that to the side. I have got the tree mounted up on a clear block, and I'm just going to use some, hey Renee, hey Kathy, they were underneath my magnet dies, like as in the whole box of magnet dies. Okay, so I've got that inked up in some early espresso. I don't know why I stuck that there. And I'm just going to stamp that down onto my sheet. How do you clean the mat? It's photopolymer, so I just clean mine with a baby wipe if you need to, or that may leave some lint. So my best suggestion is actually to use our stamping chamois. So I've got some cut down small. And then if the same as our photopolymer stamps, if it gets a bit yucky over time, you can actually pop it and run it under water as well. It will stain over time. Like if you get red ink on it and stuff, it will stain like our photopolymer stamps, but it's still perfectly fine. Okay, so I have got my piece. I'm just going to use the one I had before. And then I'm going to line up number 1 of the mask. There is also, if you're doing this on paper, there is a little V. Now, I'm just going to line that up. There's a little notch up the top here, and the light's probably stopping you see that, but there's a little notch up there. You can make that mark so you can line each one up again in the same spot, but I don't find these ones that you particularly need to. They're pretty easy to line up. So I'm going to grab the pecan pie and a little blending brush, and I'm just going to lightly brush some off onto the stencil and then go over my tree trunk. And I sort of just want a light covering of this pecan pie, and then I'm going to add a little bit more dark to one side just so I've got some more definition. I don't want it all the same brown. Then I can peel that off. See how easy that is? And look how cute that is. Okay, I'm going to stick it back down because I want to go again. So I'm going to pop this one away. Now I'll do the same colour combo that I had on the tree originally. So I'm going to line up the number 2 stencil, and it's pretty easy. You just wiggle it around until you're happy with where it's sitting. And this one is easy because you can line up the branches. Now for this one, I want to grab some lemon lime twist. I've got a little microfiber cloth in here, and if I want to clean off my blending brush just with some of the excess ink, sometimes I just rub it on the microfiber cloth. Okay, so I want to go over this whole piece with my lemon lime. I love lemon lime. It's definitely one of my faves. Now, I don't go perfect at all. I'm just adding a little bit more in some areas than there are in others, because I'm actually going to come back with the Granny Apple Green, which is a bit darker. And I'm going to add that in so I get sort of a bit of a textured tree. Now, I think it would be a bit darker down the bottom. That should be enough. I'll pull that up now. You can see how the tree is coming along. It's looking very 3D, which is cool. Now I'm going to come in with the last mask, which is our detail. And this one you sort of have to wiggle around to get in the right spot. Let's see. There's a spot where it looks good. Let's see. Almost. Sometimes I can get it first go. Other times I'm just, okay, that looks pretty good. Just a tiny bit more that way. Okay. Now, with the last layer, I want to go with some old olive. You've just ordered. I can't wait. Yes, I did find the stencils. Can't wait to see what you do with it, Rochelle. Okay, I'm going in with some old olive now. And this is for my detail layer. I'm only giving it a covering. Then when I added the Winker Stella, I saw a tip from Alyssa Tilsner, and she actually just started her Winker Stella and added it while the stencil was still on there. So what this does is actually only gives you the glitter in these bits. You don't have to worry about finding them because you're just going over the stencil with your Winker Stella, and it will be on those sections. So now I can lift that up, lift this up, and look how cool that is. I don't know if you can see the glitter, but it's really easy to make those trees. And there's so many different ways, so many different tips I've seen on ways to make them. So another way I've seen, I'll just cut this one off, and we'll quickly repeat that step. So I'll get my tree trunk. Line that up and grab the pecan. Oh my goodness, I'm knocking everything now. Okay, so I'll try and do this bit quickly because you've seen me do this bit. And then we want to bring back in our bulk, our main bit of the tree. I'm just going to quickly brush off my brush because I've had some old olive on there. And this is the lemon lime twist. You can sit here and, I mean, you could be more perfect with it. I'm doing it very quickly, but the thing I love about these stencils is that you can actually make really cool colouring really quickly. You don't have to be fussy, or you don't have to be really good at colouring. This is really easy crafting, which is, you know, something I think we all love. What about white embossing powder, as in adding embossing? I was actually going to try something like it. If it's what you're talking about, I was actually going to put this last stencil on top and pounce or add Versamark through it to add some like gold embossed sections to the tree. I had thought about doing that, but then sometimes I have to calm it down for a live video. But that is an option if that's what you mean. So I'll show you something in a second if I can do it quickly. Oh, I forgot to actually share the bit I was going to do. Oh my goodness, I'm rushing ahead, just repeating the exact same thing. I'll show you this bit. So the other thing you can do with this last bit, oh no, let's just do it. Okay, is grab some of our product called embossing paste. Now this comes with a special lid to close it up because it does dry out. And then I'm just going to grab a spatula and rub this over the top of this detailed section. Oh, okay, that's green now. I might want to dispose of that. I think I've got baby wipes here. Could actually kind of add it on a bit thicker if you really want to, rather than waste it. Okay. Then I'm going to peel that up. You just need to make sure you clean these really well. How cute is that? I don't know if you can see that 3D effect, but it's really cute. And it's actually got a tinge of green because the ink wasn't quite dry. Now, what I do suggest, though, is cleaning up that, especially the shimmery one, because it's quite gritty. But give that a clean as soon as you can, because it will dry very quickly onto that mask. So once I get the main bit of it off, I'm just going to and close up the lid of your embossing paste pretty quickly because that tends to dry out as well. I'm just going to give this a wipe because I want to share something else. I should get shares in baby wipes, honestly. Hey, Julie. Okay. I think I've got most of that clean. It's just I can see little specks of glitter. That stuff is definitely very glittery. Okay. Right. Okay, the other one I wanted to show you quickly, I'll just have to stamp out one more tree, if I can find the stamp. Yeah, the shimmer paste is so cool. Yes, I did find the stencils. They were underneath a whole container of dyes. I'm just going to move those trees because one of them's got that shimmer paste on it. So I'm just inking up my tree again in some early espresso. Just going to stamp that one down. And pop this back. Now I saw this, I'm pretty sure it was from Patty Bennett. Okay. So I'll line this up again. Grab my pecan. I'm gonna have lots of trees. To Adam, go and do some work. My partner's on here. He's actually at work. The clear thing is I showed it at the start of the video, but it's called a waffle flower grip mat, and I've got it. I've got it listed in Kayla's crafty favorites, which is in the link. So you'll find a list of all my favorite things that I use that aren't Stampin' Up. It's very cool for doing things like this. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, so then I'm going to pop this one. This is where I won't forget to show you what I was going to show you. I'm pretty sure I saw it from Patty Bennett. Okay, so we'll go back to adding, yeah, I linked some of my things I use in my Stampin' Up business, but also some of the craft things I use regularly, because I quite often get asked for links, particularly to my die storage and things. So I've added them all in an easy page in my website. Okay, that's the lemon lime. And then I'm going to add my granny apple first. I'm just going to add a little bit of the darker bits just to the edges. But what Patty did, which I thought was really cool, is she actually lifted up the stencil and moved it ever so slightly. Like you can see, I'm not sure how well. I'll see if I can zoom in. I'm not all that great on my streaming software, I will admit. If I zoom in, you should be able to see a little bit of white around the edges. So what she did was actually very softly went over again. I mean, you don't have to move it much, but what that will do is add ever so slightly a little bit of shadow next to it. So it sort of creates a shadow look, which is really cool. And then you can go back in with the last stencil, which is nice and wet. I'm just going to wipe that off. That's what pajama pants are for. I'll stick that down and go back and add my old olive. And I suppose you could actually do the same with this one. What I could do to share, I haven't done it, so it's really testing it live. I could try the embossing. As I said, I haven't tried it, but we'll give it a quick go. I'll do it because I love you guys, and I don't care if I make a fool of myself. Okie doke. So what we'd need for that is leave that last mask on, and what you probably should do is try and get off that extra ink though, because that will transfer to your Versamark pad, unless you want to use a blending brush, which is actually probably better. We'll use a blending brush. I just have to find, actually I've got the perfect thing. I'm going to use one of these sponge daubers. So I grab my Versamark pad and actually sponge in some Versamark into these little pieces of the mask. I think that should be enough. The only thing is, if the other ink will have to be dry, otherwise it will pick up the gold embossing powder. So I don't know if it's dry enough, but we'll soon find out. I don't really want this to get embossing powder on it because that would be a nightmare to clean off. Okay, so I've just got some gold, hoping this doesn't adhere itself to the rest of the tree, because you probably should let the layers dry a bit. It seems to have gone okay. Give that a bit of a tap. Now I want to grab my heat gun. Give it a heat, and then I'm going to pop that underneath. It does have some speckles on there, but oops, there's some smoking happening. You can't see the smoke. It's not burning the cardstock, so okay. Can you see that? So that's another option you could do. You could add that little bit of heat embossing. Could also make sure that embossing powder's gone off the desk. And I'll pop this back down. It's just it'll be a bit difficult because it does warp a little bit when you add heat embossing, but I'm just going to put this and line it up. Just going to pop it down again, and then maybe add, I mean, this is really, I have no idea what I'm doing, but we went back in and just got a touch. I can feel the stickiness of the Versamark on this stencil at the moment. So I've just moved it slightly. So I want to add a little bit of shadow, but this is pretty peacock. Shaded spruce would have been nice too, actually. I mean, it's subtle, but yeah, I'm having trouble blending because it's catching on the Versamark. Okay, let's lift that up. It's a very subtle look, but yeah, it sort of gave a bit of shadow, actually, which reminds me, it will have added a bit of pretty peacock to the gold, so we just need to wipe that off. So then you get a little bit of shadow underneath that gold. Yeah, so really cool. White would look like, yeah, I agree. The white embossing would be awesome as well. So that's with the heat embossing. And then we did one with the actual paste embossing. It's very hard to see on video, but it's got a dimensional look and it's white and glittery. And then there's one with just the ink. So this one also had the shadowing, I believe. So yeah, and then these are the ones I did before as well, before this video. I did some with different colour combinations. This one had Wild Wheat, Shaded Spruce, and Pretty Peacock. And this one was Shy Shamrock, Shaded Spruce, and Pretty Peacock. So there was a few different ways of doing it that all look really cool. I reckon that the other tree, so this tree here also has a stencil. So that would look really cool with lots of different techniques and made a bit Christmassy as well, because that one looks a bit more like a Christmas tree. I was just having a play with this one, but yeah, they're all a lot of fun. This Frosted Forest bundle is absolutely awesome because it's a bit more expensive. It's $100 and something, $110-ish, but it comes with the stamp set, all of those dies, as well as 6 stencils to make all the trees. So I only got this bundle out today. I've never played with it before, and I found so many things that you could do with it. So you've got the stenciling options, you've got the die cut options that I showed in the video, which I will link below. So these are the 2 different types of die cut trees that you can make out of the bundle. But also it's got the little silhouette trees. Imagine how cool they would look in black with a sunset behind them. So there's lots of different ways you could use those as well. I absolutely love this bundle. It's really, really cool. And it's available now. It's in the online exclusives. A lot of people asked about the mat that I was using. So if you didn't catch it, it is the waffle flower grip mat, and it is linked in the comments under Kayla's crafty favourites. I think I've only got mine this week and I've been using it loads. It's really cool for holding those things down, holding them still, especially if you were doing little things. So if I don't know if I've got any there, but if you had little die cuts to work on, it would hold those in place while you colour them. Just don't use stamping blends on it. So I hope that was good to come and actually see how I did those trees, because I had a mishap and couldn't find it while I was live. So go and check out the video linked in the comments where you can see how I made the cards that I shared, because that is where you'll find how to do that. And I will share a PDF later tonight or tomorrow. It's getting late now that I came back on live. But thanks for joining me again if you caught me live. Otherwise, leave a comment and let me know that you've watched the video, and I will catch you guys next weekend. So have a good night, guys. Bye.